Hi there, this is JKS Plays wanting to provide yet another answer to a question that I asked myself. Just who is the strongest of all three Paldea region starters in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet? Say hello to the water duckling Pokemon Quaxly, the grass cat Sprigatito, and the fire croc Fuecoco. At level 36, they all evolve into their final forms. The hard-hitting dancer Pokemon Quaquaval, the magician Pokemon Meowscarada, and the special attacking phenom, the singer Pokemon Skeledirge. Can they all take me to the end credits of Pokemon Violet? Well, let's find out together as I welcome you to this Pokemon Violet challenge run, where I try to beat the game using all three Paldea starters. And now it's time to explain the rules. The first and most important one, I can only use the Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxly lines in all the battles. Plus, I'll be going through every badge battle in the desired order it was meant for the player to do in Scarlet and Violet. The second rule, I cannot use items in battle like potions and full restores, but held items like Shell Bell and leftovers will be acceptable for the run. The third rule, if necessary, I am going to allow 3 Terra-type changes each for all 3 Paldean starters, but considering they all get special moves that they can learn by technical machines to compensate for their weaknesses, that might not be necessary at all. So with all that out of the way, it's time to begin the run. As I enroll in Uva Academy, I decided to go with the male avatar again. As per the custom for any Pokemon playthrough, you get to choose one of the 3 starters. But of course in this run, I get to go with every single one of them. But for this run, that way Nemona gets one of the 3, I ultimately went with Quaxly, so Nemona gets Fuecoco. And in my first battle against Nemona, it will be the last time she gets to see the Quaxly I picked after a couple of water guns washed Fuecoco away. You see, because in my main Violet file, I did a triple Masuda method egg hunt to see if I could get a shiny starter with its hidden ability, along with the fact that they're in special Pokeballs. And the first one to hatch shiny at exactly 200 eggs is this Love Ball Sprigatito. It only seemed right that Sprigatito would be the first one to shine, considering that was the first starter I ever chose when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet released in November 2022 on the Nintendo Switch 1. Second one coming in shiny at 359 eggs is this Sport Ball Fuecoco. Fuecoco was the first shiny Pokemon I hatched in Generation 9 at 83 eggs. The third and final starter took a while to shine, but at 1,418 eggs, I finally hatched this Lure Ball shiny Quaxly. And now let's take a quick deep dive into the 3 shiny starter hatches. Beginning with Sprigatito. I hatched Sprigatito with its hidden ability Protean, which changes the Pokemon's type to the type of the move it's about to use, and it only works once. It used to be a broken hidden ability in the prior generations. It also came with the Lax Nature. As you also noticed, I also hatched that shiny Sprigatito with its best egg move, Leech Seed. Next up is shiny Fuecoco, which I hatched with its hidden ability Unaware, which allows for the Pokemon with that ability while attacking to ignore the target stat changes. It also came with the special attack boosting Rash Nature and its best egg move Slack Off. And finally, let's take a look at the shiny Quaxly I hatched. It came with its best egg move Roost, which also heals up the Pokemon, and its hidden ability Moxie. Whenever Quaxly knocks out the target, it boosts its attack stat by a single stage. It also came with the speed-boosting, defense-lowering, hasty nature. And I decided to let Quaxly go to work first against Arven in front of the Poco Path Lighthouse after being rescued in Inlet Grotto by the box legendary Miraidon. Going up against Arven Sklovit, all I had to do to be victorious was to have Quaxly spit on that squirrel with 4 consecutive water guns, securing the first official victory for my 3 Paldean shiny starters. And the second victory wouldn't be that far away. As I tried to enter Mesagoza for the first time, I was once again interrupted by my battle-loving neighbor Nemona, who did not learn her lesson after I defeated her Fuecoco with a non-shiny Quaxly. Now it's time for Ginger to show off what it can do. I started off the bout by building up both its attack stats by 1 stage on the first 2 turns by using Work Up. After the setup was done, I had Quaxly go on the aggressive by hitting Fuecoco with its first water gun, before Fuecoco responded by hitting Quaxly with a 3rd tackle. A second water gun was all it took to finish Fuecoco off, and now Nemona was going to bring out a second Pokemon, the electric type from Generation 9, Pawmi. My best bet in defeating Pawmi was showcasing for the first time in battle Earl Grey, my shiny Sprigatito. And Nemona decided to show off her ace in the hole right away, which was by unleashing her Terra Orb, terastallizing Pawmi into a powerful electric type. But Pawmi only has 1 attack at this stage in Thundershock, and unfortunately for Nemona, I used the TM machine to get a TM for Mud Slap, which I immediately taught Sprigatito. And after the first Mud Slap, it turned Sprigatito into a ground type because of its Protean ability, making Thundershock an immunity for Sprigatito. I then had Sprigatito use Leech Seed, which will constantly sap away at the energy of Pawmi while also healing Sprigatito in the process, considering Sprigatito hasn't taken any damage yet due to the fact that it's now currently a ground type. Then I was taunting Nemona's second Pokemon by using Hone Claws, a setup attack that increases both the accuracy and the attack stat of the Pokemon that uses it. And once Pawmi was taken down to red health, I had Sprigatito use Mud Slap one more time for the victory, allowing for me to finally enter the largest city in all of the Paldea region, Mesagoza. After doing some sightseeing and shopping around this gorgeous town, I made my way up that large staircase to enroll in Uva Academy. But along the way, I was given my very own Terra Orb from Nemona. Now I have the capability of terastallizing, which means I'm going to use it for the first time, allowing for Fuecoco to be the first one to try it out on a Team Star Grunt, wiping out his Yungoos with a double-stab terastallized Ember. After my inaugural encounter with Team Star, I was able to enroll in the Academy and unlock all 3 major stories of Victory Road, Path of Legends, and Starfall Street. And before my latest treasure hunt can officially start, I earned the trust of Miraidon to be my riding companion for the remainder of the challenge. I headed east first to the Artisan to pick up the Sunny Day TM to teach Fuecoco, before heading west to the Cortundo Gym as I challenge for my first badge of this Paldea starter-only run. Time for Chai, my shiny female Fuecoco, to be the first one of the Paldea starter shiny trio to take center stage in our first gym battle against Cortundo gym leader Katie and her bug types. Katie's first Pokemon, Nimble, was able to move first and strike Fuecoco with a double kick before getting roasted by Incinerate. And now Katie brings out her second Pokemon, Tarantula. Fuecoco was faster on this exchange, being able to set up the Sun on the first turn. After getting hit by an Assurance, Fuecoco smokes Tarantula with a second round of Incinerate, forcing Katie to bring out her ace Pokemon, a true normal-type Pokemon, Teddiursa, who Katie terastallizes into a Terra Bug type. And because the Johto Bear Cub terastallized first, it's going to get the first attack in the moment after I terastallized Fuecoco. Teddiursa went for the normal attack Fury swipes that can hit anywhere from 2 to 5 times. The second hit was a critical one, and unfortunately for Fuecoco, Teddiursa was able to get the maximum 5 hits that left the Fire Croc with exactly 1 hit point remaining. Fortunately, none of the hits from 3 through 5 was critical as well, and one final double stab terastallized Incinerate from Fuecoco secured the Paldea Shiny Starter Trio their first gym badge in dramatic fashion. And as an added bonus for the win, Fuecoco reached level 16, evolving into its middle stage, Crocolore. After that narrow triumph, I was more than happy to leave Portundo as I go after badge number 2. Time for the other 2 Paldea region shiny starters to make their presence felt against Stony Cliff Titan Cloth. Ginger the shiny Quaxly was first up against the Raving Crab. For this first turn, I elected to terastallize Quaxly into a Terra Water type to further power up its Water type attacks. Cloth outspeeds and used Block, which was a waste of the turn, allowing for Quaxly to freely set up its attack stats with Workup. After being hit by a Rock Smash, I had Quaxly set up its attack stats once again with Workup before nailing Cloth with a priority Aqua Jet, which unfortunately was not enough at +2 to put Cloth down, triggering the Crab's Anger Shell ability, which increases its attack stats and speed but at the cost of its defenses being lowered, which was exactly what happened to Quaxly when it got hit by a second Rock Smash. Quaxly was able to end the first phase with a second Aqua Jet. And for phase 2, I decided to attack Cloth with Earl Grey, my shiny Sprigatito, terastallizing the Weed Cat into a Terra Grass type. Cloth struck first with Vice Grip. That's why I had Sprigatito set up a Leech Seed to gain some HP back, as Arven's shoulder retaliated on Cloth by striking with a super effective Water Gun. On the next turn, Sprigatito struck back with a double stab Terra boosted Magical Leaf, which once again triggered Cloth's Anger Shell. Shoulder, probably upset that it's being ignored by Cloth, hit for a second Water Gun, and combined with the Leech Seed, Cloth was taken deep into the red. This next Rock Tomb from Cloth took Sprigatito all the way down to 2 HP, then Shoulder clutched up by healing both itself and Sprigatito with Life Dew. After surviving that devastating attack, Sprigatito had one more powerful attack in him, delivering a critical hit double stab Terra boosted Magical Leaf, and down goes the Stony Cliff Titan. Another nail-biting victory for my Paldea Shiny Starter Trio. And just like Fuecoco, after conquering the Cortundo Gym, Sprigatito evolved at level 16 to its middle stage, Floragato. Time to head back to Artisan in my quest for my second gym badge. But before heading back to Artisan Town, I was able to evolve Quaxly as well at level 16, as it evolves into its middle stage evolution, Quaxwell. Now that Ginger, Chai, and Earl Grey are at their middle stage evolutions, I decided to bypass Artisan Town for just a little while longer, as I made the trip to Levincia Town for the first time to get a very crucial TM to teach Quaxwell in the hard-hitting water special attack Surf. Then I headed up a little farther to Zapapico to get a very helpful held item in the Rocky Helmet. At long last, I made that safe passage back to Artisan to go after my second gym badge in this run. It's time to take a leap into action against the Master of Grass types, Artisan Town Gym Leader Brassius. For this gym battle, it is once again Chai time, as Shiny Crocolore quickly torches Brassius' first 2 Pokemon, Petalil with a critical hit Incinerate, and then Smoliv with another Incinerate, which causes Brassius to bring out his ace in Grass Terra Sudowoodo, whose only attacks are Trail Blaze, which is always programmed to do whenever Sudowoodo is slower than the opposing Pokemon, and Rock Throw, which is super effective against fire types. Crocalor quickly brings Sudowoodo down to its 30 with a terrestrialized Incinerate. Sudowoodo does not see a KO with Rock Throw, so it opted to use Trail Blaze instead to build its speed up. But Sudowoodo ended up knocking itself out in the process due to the fact that Crocalor was holding the Rocky Helmet. A relatively easy gym badge win for Chai that thankfully wasn't as chaotic as the first one was with Katie back in Cortundo. And overall, the Paldea Shiny Starter Trio now has collected 3 badges. To properly prepare pursuing my 4th badge, I jumped over a little bit of a cliff on South Province Area 4 to get back to South Province Area 1 and get the TM for Play Rough. Even though Floragato can learn it naturally later on by its final stage evolution, I decided to teach Play Rough immediately to Earl Grey as I went up against the Open Sky Titan Bombardier, a flying type that always has the advantage over grass types. But Earl Grey is no ordinary grass type, as Play Rough becomes a super effective move on the part dark type bird, also turning Earl Grey into a fairy type due to Protean. I went for the same opportunity again on the second phase, but Play Rough whiffed. After taking a Rock Throw, Play Rough connected on the second turn, and all Arven's Knackley was doing was building up its own speed with Rock Polish. Arven still felt the need for more speed for his Knackley, giving Floragato the perfect chance to finish off this Titan bout, clawing its way to victory with one more round of rough play. A second Titan is shrunk down to size in this Pokemon Violet Paldea starter-only run, and just close by is an opportunity at collecting badge number 5. It's that time for Earl Grey, Chai, and Ginger to pass their first test in trying to raid a Team Star base. As I go up against the leader of Team Star's Dark Crew, Giacomo. His first Pokemon is Ponyard, which is a Dark and Steel type, so I chose to lead with Ginger. And on the very first turn, Ponyard immediately gets eradicated by a quad-effective low sweep, which forces Giacomo to call upon the power of the second Starmobile, which has the Intimidate ability that lowers Quaxwell's attack stat by a single stage. And after attacking first with Wicked Torque, the low sweep from Quaxwell didn't do that much damage despite being super effective. So I decided to swap out and bring in Earl Grey, the shiny Floragato, to lower the attack stat of the Starmobile by 2 stages with Charm, after Floragato's special defense got lowered by 2 stages with Metal Sound. And by using Charm, Earl Grey transforms into a fairy type because of Protean, which also powers up the Play Rough. I made another substitution and brought back in Quaxwell now that its attack stat is back to neutral. The main reason why I use Charm to lower the attack stat of the Starmobile is because Wicked Torque has a small chance of putting the opposing Pokemon to sleep. After another low sweep from Quaxwell, I swap back in Floragato, who was about to take a Snarl on the switch, but it missed. It would have been neutral now that Floragato's back to being the grass type. I clicked on Play Rough on the next turn, and Snarl missed a second straight time, which opened the door for Floragato to deliver another Protean boosted Play Rough for the KO, and the first Starmobile of this run is being sent to the junkyard where it belongs. The Team Star Dark base has officially been raided, forcing them to disband, while the starter trio of Paldea and I have collected our 5th badge. And on the way to going for badge number 6, I picked up the leftovers item while in Medali Town and the TM for Flamethrower. Now back in Levincia, I was about to challenge for my 3rd gym badge before being promptly challenged by Nemona once again. She's about to recognize just how broken the Moxie hidden ability is on Quaxwell, as all 3 of her Pokemon, including her terrestrialized Crocalor in the back, go down to Aqua Cutter, with Nemona's second Pokemon going down to a +1 Aqua Cutter, and Crocalor being done in by a +2 Aqua Cutter, adding on to the fact that Nemona was stupid enough to take me on while it was raining. Now on to the gym battle itself, against the lean, mean streaming queen, electric gym leader Iono. While Quaxly handled business against Nemona, I relied on the other 2 starters for a tag team approach against Iono's team, starting with Crocalor one-shotting Watch Roll with Heat Wave. Crocalor continued to blow some hot air on Iono's second Pokemon, Bellibolt, taking off just about half of Bellibolt's HP before being struck by a water gun. I then also found another Mudslap TM in the wild and taught it to Crocalor. A second water gun from Bellibolt wasn't even strong enough to take Crocalor down to the half point of its HP before a second Mudslap took Bellibolt out. Out next for Iono is Luxio, so I decided to swap out Crocalor in favor of Floragato to set up a Sinnoh vs Paldea cat fight. Since Grass resists electric, Luxio's strongest move in his moveset is Bite, which made it perfect sense for me to have Floragato set up a Leech Seed. And the second on the next turn I click Mudslap, Luxio will not be using its only electric move Spark anytime soon. Mudslap is a ground special attack that only is base 20 power, but it also lowers the opposing Pokemon's accuracy. After Luxio went down to a second Mudslap, Iono was about to bring out her ace, the levitating electric Terra Mismagius. And this is where I came with the best plan possible in taking Mismagius down. And that plan was simply using Worry Seed, a move that changes the Pokemon's ability to Insomnia. And now that means Mismagius can get hit by any ground attack like Mudslap. Mismagius won't use Charge Beam on a grass type or a ground type, so it struck with Hex on the first turn for some decent damage. I then used Leech Seed to gain some HP back, and as predicted, Mismagius went with Confuse Ran the next turn. In order to shake off the confusion, I swapped out and brought back in Crocalor. On this next turn, Mismagius struck with Hex, taking off just about half of what was left of Crocalor's HP, but thanks to the healing from Leech Seed, Crocalor can survive another Hex attack, provided it does not crit. Mismagius went for Hex again, and it struck Crocalor, leaving the Fire Croc with 9 HP. I had Crocalor use Mudslap to lower the accuracy of Mismagius and get some HP back with Leech Seed before subbing back in Floragato. Iono sees a KO on Crocalor with any move, so it opted for Mismagius to use Charge Beam, which has a 70% chance of increasing Mismagius' special attack if it hits, but it also has a 10% chance to miss, like it did there. From that point, I made the conscious decision of keeping Earl Grey in, striking with Mudslap. Mismagius missed again with Hex, and one more Mudslap was enough to seal the victory. A methodical one at that, considering Iono, in my opinion, is the toughest gym leader in all of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. My Paldea shiny starter trio is building momentum now that we have 6 badges. After healing up Earl Grey, Ginger, and Shy, I headed over to pick up the TM for Rain Dance, which is cruel irony considering it's just lying outside the hideout from where our next challenge lies.
It's a new Viper!
And this latest challenge is going to come from the Team Star Firebase and the leader of the Shutter Squad, Mela. It's once again time for Ginger to take the lead as Mela brings out her sun-setting lead Pokemon Torkoal. But once that drought ability is set, it was never going to be set again after it got washed away on the first turn by Quaxly using Rain Dance. Even a nerfed Flame Wheel that landed a crit and also burned Quaxly was not going to dampen my spirits in the least bit, considering I had Quaxly hold the Damp Rock to extend heat turns from 5 to 8, virtually guaranteeing victory once Torkoal got one-shot by Surf. And all Mela had left at this point is the Shutter Starmobile, whose best attack is Blazing Torque, which has the small chance of burning the opposing Pokemon. And since Ginger is already burned, cutting in half its physical attack power, that's why I had Quaxly go on the special attacking side. 2 more Surf attacks gave this Starmobile a glorified car washing, and my shining starter trio from Paldea 7 total badges. Another completely free matchup in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, provided you have a special attacking fire type like Crocalor, is against the lurking Steel Titan Orthworm, considering this silly slug has a pathetic special defense base stat of 55. Even though I did pick up the Flamethrower TM, Crocalor learns that move naturally, so I didn't feel the need to teach it to Crocalor right away, especially considering Heat Wave is just as strong, if not stronger, than Flamethrower itself. It's definitely powerful enough to melt down the lurking Steel Titan with back-to-back one-shots in both phases. This is without a doubt the easiest of the 8 badges thus far we've claimed in this run. The next destination is Cascarafa Town, as I'm pursuing my 4th gym badge. But on the way to the gym, its leader Kofu ran out in a huff without his wallet as he was heading over to Port Marinada Town. The gym lobby staff member handed me his wallet to give it to him, and on my way over there, I spotted Kofu looking at some flowers. It's a secret cutscene that few go to in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet by simply bypassing the area. Simply go over to Colonnade Hollow through the Asado Desert to trigger this cutscene. Arriving at Port Marinada, I had Florigato drop some seed bombs on the 2 Pokemon of Kofu's apprentice, and it took that for me to finally give Kofu his wallet. And as a thank you, he accepted my challenge for a gym battle back at Cascarafa. Kofu is a master of water types, which made it that much simple for me to have Earl Grey be the one and only Pokemon counted upon to score me my 4th gym badge. This first turn Seed Bomb crit and detonates on the head of Veluza, but the second Pokemon Lug Trio became problematic when the first headbutt landed a flinch and the second one took Florigato down to the orange before Earl Grey got the one-hit KO with Trailblaze, which increased the Weed Cat's speed, which dropped back down thanks to Lug Trio's Gooey ability. At neutral speed, Florigato is still worlds faster than Kofu's ace Pokemon, Water Terra Crabominable. Since Florigato resists the Water Stab Terra boosted Crabhammer, Crabominable's other 2 moves are Slam and Rock Smash. But none of those 3 moves came into effect as this double stab terrestrialized Seed Bomb is extremely explosive and taking Crabominable out. My Paldea Shiny Starter Trio is beginning to dominate, as we now have taken possession of 9 total badges after claiming our 4th gym badge in this Pokemon Violet Paldea Starter Only Challenge. And now that we're in the second half of the challenge, I decided to level up all 3 starters to their final evolutions at level 36, starting with Earl Grey into Shiny Meowscarada. And upon evolving to Meowscarada, it gains the secondary Dark typing and learns its outstanding signature move, Flower Trick, a base 70 power grass physical attack that never misses and always lands a critical hit. Second up is the Water Starter, evolving into the dancing Pokemon. Ginger is now Shiny Quaquaval. And upon evolving to level 36, it gains the secondary fighting typing and learns its marvelous signature maneuver, Aqua Step, a base 80 power 100% accurate water physical attack that gives Quaquaval a 1-stage speed boost. Last but certainly not least, to round out the Paldea starter trio, Chai can fully evolve into Shiny Female Skeledirge. And upon evolving at level 36, it gains the secondary Ghost typing and learns its spicy signature move, Torch Song, a base 80 power 100% accurate fire special attack that gives the Dirge an automatic 1-stage special attack boost. And I can't think of a better place to showcase all of those attacks than in the land of Kitakami, as I officially unlock the hidden treasure of Area Zero Part 1, the Teal Mask DLC. Upon arriving in Kitakami with 3 other Uva Academy students and Blueberry Academy teacher Briar, I headed over to Masui Town, where I was confronted by 2 Blueberry Academy students who called Kitakami home, Carmine and her brother Kieran. Not even 10 minutes into my visit, Carmine challenges me to a quick Pokemon battle, but all 3 of her Pokemon were no match for Earl Grey, Ginger, and Shy, as all 3 of my Pokemon, as shiny as they can be, scored decisive one-hit knockouts on all of Carmine's Pokemon. Poochyena went down to Earl Grey's play rough. Ginger Aqua stepped all over the face of Vulpix, and Poltergeist instantly got smoked by the Torch Song of the Dirge, a riveting tune that Carmine simply did not want to hear. On the next day, Kieran challenged me to battle as well, as I started off again with Earl Grey, the shiny Meowscarada. After taking a quick attack from Sentret, Meowscarada got to unleash Flower Trick for the very first time. The moment the Weed Cat clicks its fingers, prepare to get cripped. The only real drawback on Meowscarada is that it is quad weak to bug type attacks, but I do have Skeledirge, the malicious melter of bugs, as Kieran's Yama quickly found out, succumbing to the flames of Torch Song. Now it's back to Paldea in pursuit of the remaining 9 badges for this run. And it all resumes at Tag Tree Thicket as I go after Team Star Base number 3.
How about a new Corvette?
No doubt the filthiest of all the bases as I square off once again against the Navi Squad wielder of poison, Atticus, whose opening Pokemon is Skuntank. With a limited moveset, it's easy to set up on. And this is where you get to see the versatility of Ginger the shiny Quaquaval. For this battle, I did not have a single attack in Quaquaval's moveset. It only consisted of 4 particular moves that you get to see throughout this entire sequence against Skuntank. You already saw the first one on the opening turn where Quaquaval set up a substitute, which takes off 25% of Quaquaval's HP, but it shields the Dancing Peacock from any attack Skuntank dishes out. And the only 3 moves it has are Toxic, Venoshock, and the Dark Priority Sucker Punch. The goal here was simple. I had Quaquaval set up its attack stat all the way to +6 by using Swords Dance 3 times, and set up its speed by 6 stages by using Agility 3 times. Every usage of Swords Dance and Agility, it sharply boosts your attack and speed respectively by 2 stages. And whenever Skuntank broke the sub with Venoshock, I simply had Quaquaval set up another substitute. All the while, it's constantly gaining HP back, considering I had Quaquaval hold the leftovers item. Doing this strategy was also important, considering it prevented Quaquaval from ever being hit by Skuntank's Toxic, which doubles the damage on every single turn. I used Agility for the final time, and now Quaquaval is at a +6 in both its attack and speed stats. And now that the setting up was done, I used the 4th move in Quaquaval's moveset, Baton Pass, which yields all the boosts to the next Pokemon that swaps in. In this case, it's Shy, the shiny Skeledirge. Skuntank managed to break the substitute for the final time with Sucker Punch, but it's too late, as the Dirge can now pull off a gentleman sweep as Skuntank and the incoming River-Room both go down to consecutive earthquakes, while Muck fell victim to the psychic physical attack Zen Headbutt. And the main reason why I made sure speed was at +6, so that Skeledirge can strike first on the Navi Starmobile. At +6 attack, this earthquake took the Starmobile deep into the red. The Dirge also took Noxious Torque pretty well, considering Ghost resists poison. After this final calling of the Tremors, a 3rd Starmobile gets impounded, and Atticus is forced to surrender in my hands. Badge number 10. Quaquaval's contributions to the team is about to soar even higher as I go up against everyone's favorite everyday man, normal gym leader Larry in Medali Town. We've already seen Chai sweep the first two gyms, and Ginger swept the previous gym back at Cascaroffa Town against water gym leader Kofu. And considering fighting is the only weakness the normal types suffer, it made sense for Quaquaval to sweep this gym, setting up his attack and defense as many times as I could with Bulk Up, being put to sleep briefly on the second turn by Komala Jean before waking up with a Chesto Berry. After the third Bulk Up, I had Quaquaval heal back up to full HP with Roost, an egg move that you can breed on Quaxly. Shockingly, Komala did not use Yarn the second time, enabling for Quaquaval to bulk up at least 2 more times when Komala used Yarn again, eventually putting Quaquaval back to sleep. I simply clicked Roost on the turns Quaquaval was sleeping. But fortunately, Quaquaval got a first turn wake up, healed back up to full before taking a slam, and at +5 defense it virtually did nothing. I then had Quaquaval finally go on the aggressive to take out Komala with Aqua Step, giving Ginger a very important speed boost which is needed to take down Larry's ace. At +6 in attack thanks to the Moxie boost, the Dunsparce goes down quickly to a +6 Brick Break, and the moment Larry's A-Star Raptor enters into play, its Intimidate ability lowers Quaquaval's attack stat back down to a +5. But the second Larry terrestrializes the part flying type from Sinnoh into a Terra normal type, it makes Quaquaval's Brick Break super effective for a guaranteed one-hit KO. Ginger struts its stuff on the way to a clean sweep and our 5th badge in this Pokemon Violet Paldea starter-only challenge, but we still can't leave Medali Town just yet. Overall, I now have 11 badges as I headed over to Medali Gym, where I was confronted by top champion Geeta, who congratulated me on earning my 5th gym badge. But out of nowhere, rival Nemona barges in and immediately challenges me to another Pokemon battle, and she appeared to be completely stunned by the fact that Geeta has taken interest in me. This will be my 4th battle against Nemona during this run, if you want to count the first battle where I used the Quaxly I used at the beginning, which gave Nemona Fuecoco. But before this battle, Geeta was kind enough to heal up Quaquaval before the battle begun. But in this case, Quaquaval was not going to do it alone. But having Quaquaval out first was very important, considering Nemona adds a Goomy to her team and starts off with her now fully evolved midday Lycanroc, who has 2 priority moves and a Cell Rock and Quick Attack, the latter of which Lycanroc used before its face got smashed in by Quaquaval's signature Aqua Step. And as Quaquaval gets its speed boost due to Aqua Step and an attack boost due to Moxie, I'm not going to fully utilize it this time considering Nemona brings out Palmo second. So I decided to counter with Chai, the shiny Skeledirge, who was surprisingly faster than Palmo, using Yawn on the first turn, before Palmo retaliated by paralyzing Skeledirge with Thunder Wave, enabling for Palmo to move first on the second turn and hit with Spark, before the Dirge erupted with Earth Power to take Palmo out. Coming out next for Nemona is the previously mentioned Goomy, and my best counter in taking Goomy down is bringing out Earl Grey, the shiny Meowscarada, who one-shots Goomy with a Protean boosted Play Rough. Earl Grey did its job splendidly, so I decided to swap out and bring back in Quaquaval to allow the Dancing Duck to finish what it started, as Nemona brings out her ace Pokemon, now a fully evolved non-shiny Skeledirge. Thinking that Aqua Step is not powerful enough to one-shot Nemona's Skeledirge without a critical hit, I decided to terrestrialize Ginger into a Terra Water type, as Nemona terrestrializes her ace as well. And just as I feared, this double-stab Terra-boosted Aqua Step from Quaquaval took the Dirge down to the limits of HP, allowing for Nemona to have her Skeledirge use its patented Torch Song for the first time, which did significant damage despite the fact that Quaquaval resists fire-type attacks. And then this second Aqua Step ended the fight, continuing my undefeated streak against Nemona. Regardless of the conclusion of this battle, top champion Geeta awards you 5 Terra Blast TMs. I'm now in the snowy town of Montenevera, where I go up against Ghost Gym Leader Ryan in pursuit of my 6th gym badge, leading with Meowscarada and Skeledirge against Ryan's first 2 Pokemon, Mimikyu and Banette. And on the opening turn, I terrestrialize Skeledirge into a Terra Fire type to shed off its Ghost type weakness. On the very first turn, I had Skeledirge use Protect, fearing that Banette was going to use Sucker Punch, but Banette never got an opportunity to make a move as it got dropped by Meowscarada's critical hit Night Slash. Mimikyu set up a light screen, and as Ryan brought out her 3rd Pokemon, Houndstone, the crowd went wild, giving both my Pokemon an Omni boost to all 5 of their stats due to terrestrializing the Dirge on the very first turn. Now a pure Dark-type Ludicronian and a +1 in attack, this next Night Slash by Meowscarada eradicates Houndstone. I then had Skeledirge use Torch Song to break Mimikyu's disguise and give the Fire Croc another special attack boost. And right after Ryan brought out her final Pokemon, Ghost Terra Toxtricity, the crowd gave both my Pokemon another boost to both their attack and special attack stats. Which, if you're keeping score, the Dirge is now at a +3 in its special attack stat the moment Ryan terrestrializes Toxtricity. A Shadow Claw scores a 2nd critical hit for Meowscarada during this bout to wipe out Mimikyu. And for the finishing touch, Skeledirge, now faster due to the Omni boost after the first turn, got rid of Toxtricity with a +3 Shadow Ball. After this convincing gym victory, my badge count is now at 12. Heading over to the Asado Desert, I brought along with me my shiny Quaquaval to go up against a quaking Earth Titan Iron Treads. A powerful low kick ended the first phase. For phase 2, the cyborg Donphan was faster, taking off nearly half of Quaquaval's HP with Stopping Tantrum, so I had Ginger use Chilling Water to lower the attack stat down a stage. And then Arvin Scovillain harshly lowered the speed of Iron Treads by 2 with Scary Face. On the next turn, I terrestrialized Ginger and delivered this double stab Terra boosted Aqua Step, taking the Treads down to a 1/3 of its HP. And then it was brought down to the red by Scovillain's Fire Fang. Then one more Aqua Step from Quaquaval put down Iron Treads for good. And now my Paldea Shiny Starter Trio is up to 13 badges after conquering our 4th Titan during this run. It's time to press onward to the town of Alfrenada. Upon arriving in the city and heading towards the gym, I was once again challenged by Nemona, as her same team of 4 is almost fully evolved now that her Gumi has evolved into a Sliggoo. However, in this latest battle against Nemona, all 4 of her Pokemon got clapped in a single hit. Lycanroc went down to Meowscarada's Flower Trick. Then Earl Grey followed that up by wiping out Sliggoo with a Protean-boosted Play Rough. Some Earth Power from Skeledirge eliminated Palmont, and Nemona's Skeledirge got stomped on by Quaquaval's double-stab Terra-boosted Aqua Step. My Paldea Shiny Starter Trio refuses to break stride from the momentum they are building, as I confidently took on Psychic Gym Leader Tulip. I gave Shiny Meowscarada a Scope Lens to hold, further boosting critical hit ratio, considering Meowscarada has 2 high crit moves in its moveset, like this dark move Night Slash, which one-shots Fergaraf because of the fact that Night Slash landed a crit. Tulip summoned in Gardevoir next, a part fairy type. That's why I equipped Meowscarada with the Ghost Physical Attack Shadow Claw, another high crit ratio move to take Gardevoir out. Meowscarada stayed on top of things when it took down Tulip's 3rd Pokemon, Espathra, with a 2nd Night Slash. And now Tulip is down to her last Pokemon, Florges, a fairy type from the Kalos region that she's about to terrestrialize into a Terra Psychic type. In order for Earl Grey to score a 4th consecutive one-hit KO for this bout, this Night Slash needed to crit. But it doesn't get the job done, allowing for Florges to strike back with a powerful Moonblast that left Meowscarada at just 5 HP before the 2nd Night Slash, which did crit this time, finally finished Florges off. A second sweep of a gym for Earl Grey that was definitely closer than expected. As Tulip congratulates and sends me on my way, I now have 7 gym badges and 14 badges in total. I hurriedly made my way up towards Glaciata Mountain to immediately challenge Ice Gym Leader Grusha for the final gym badge of this run. And I was not playing around this time. I gave Chai the Skeledirge, the Choice Scarf, and immediately terrestrialized into Terra Fire, then let the Dirge go to town on every single one of Grusha's Pokemon by playing Torch Song 4 times, which engulfed Frostmoth, Beartic, Titan, and Grusha's ace, Ice Terra Altaria, in Melodious Flames, with Altaria going down to a +3 Torch Song, capping off an emphatic sweep for my 8th and final Paldea Region Gym Badge. After this one-sided barbecue fest, the Skeledirge line in this run has swept the first, second, and last of the Paldea gyms, as I got my 15th overall badge and the TM for Ice Spinner, which I taught Quaquaval, also qualifying for the Pokemon League with 3 badges left to collect. And 2 of the final 3 badges left are in the camp of Team Star. Time to go snatch one of them from their grip right now. Near a beach on North Province Area 3 resides the Team Star Ferry Base, which is captained by Rugby Squad leader Ortega. Earl Grey takes the field once again to do combat with Ortega's lead Pokemon Azumarill, who promptly exits from the battle unceremoniously after getting a flower trick dropped on its head. The second Pokemon for Ortega, Wigglytuff, was taken down to 1 HP with another flower trick before striking back on Meowscarada with Play Rough. So I had Meowscarada heal itself a bit with Giga Drain. After Wigglytuff faints, Dachsbun got domed by a critical hit flower trick, taking it for just over half of its HP before missing its attempt at rough play. So I used Giga Drain on the next 2 turns to finish off Dachsbun, since the well-baked doggo on the 3rd turn failed to lower the attack stat of Meowscarada with the priority Baby Doll Eyes, considering I had Meowscarada hold the Clear Amulet. And as Dachsbun went down, all that's left for Ortega is the Rugby Starmobile. For those of you who don't know, Starmobiles can't get crit, and they also can't be statused. After 2 terrestrialized flower tricks, I turned things over to the Dirge to close things out. And since Chai resists all of the Starmobile's moves, the best thing it could do is confuse Skeledirge, which I came prepared for, and giving the Firecroc a Persim Berry. From there, it was just a matter of using Torch Songs until the Starmobile got burned down. Once again, the combination of Meowscarada and Skeledirge is working like a shiny charm. And now we're at Bamboo Forest for the toughest of all the Team Star bases.
A new Porsche!
Against the leader of the Cap Squad and a master of fighting types, Airy. I decided to brute force it early on with Ginger, my shiny Quaquaval, as it proceeds to wipe out both Toxicroak and Passimian with Brave Bird, the most powerful flying physical attack in the game that delivers massive recoil damage to the user. That's why I made the conscious substitution to bring in Earl Grey the shiny Meowscarada to deal with Airy's next Pokemon, Annihilate. Turning into a fairy type because of Protean, this massive Play Rough landed a critical hit to take out the bulky Rage Monkey. I swapped out one more time and let Chai, the shiny Skeledirge, bring it home. First against Airy's penultimate Pokemon before the Starmobile, and Lucario, who stung Skeledirge with a super effective Dark Pulse before going down to the Dirge's first playing of Torch Song, which also gave Chai a very important special attack boost, as Airy now calls upon the power of the Cap Starmobile, who has the indefinite ability of sweeping your entire team if you let it set up its attack and speed with shift gear. On its first attack, the Starmobile rammed into the Dirge with a super effective ground physical attack high horsepower, which I came prepared and giving the Fire Croc a shuckaberry to eat. After taking a strong +1 torch song, Eri felt the Starmobile needed more power, so it used shift gear on the next turn, but it gave Skeledirge a window of an opening to finish off this fight with a +2 torch song. All 5 Starmobiles have officially been sent to the junkyard, and I now have claimed 17 badges. I finally reached a point where I could get the last of the 18 badges, as I head to Casseroya Lake and deal with the false dragon titan Dondozo. The first and second phase was pretty elementary. I simply had Earl Grey, my shiny Meowscarada, drop 2 flower tricks each in both phases for a very easy victory, setting up the third and final phase against the real Dragon Titan Tatsugiri. But the Paldea Dragon and Water type Sushi monster was a pretty tough one to crack, especially on the first 2 turns. Once I turned Meowscarada into a Fairy type, it missed Play Rough not once, but twice. However, I made sure Meowscarada was holding the Clear Amulet to prevent any of its stats from being lowered by Tatsugiri's 2 attacks, Icy Wind followed by Muddy Water. A Play Rough finally connected on the 3rd straight turn, then Tatsugiri threw by using Taunt. And as Arven's greeted lowered the defense of Tatsugiri with Tail Whip, this Protean boosted Play Rough from Meowscarada landed a crit, and down went Tatsugiri. All 5 Titans have been defeated, and now my Paldea Shiny Starter Trio has claimed all 18 badges. But before leaving Casseroya Lake, I picked up the Life Orb and start preparing for the Pokemon League. And here are the final effort values and individual values set up for Earl Grey, my shiny Meowscarada, Chai, my shiny Skeledirge, and Ginger, my shiny Quaquaval. I fed an Adamant Mint to both Meowscarada and Quaquaval, and a Modest Mint for Skeledirge before entering the Pokemon League to take my Elite test against the Paldea Regional Elite 4, starting with Rika and her ground types. Rika has a nasty team of Pokemon if you let her set up her game plan, especially when she starts off with her first Pokemon, Whiscash, a Pokemon that is 4 times weak to Grass, which made it simple for me to once again start off with Earl Grey, the shiny Meowscarada, as it drops a Flower Trick, a guaranteed critical hit, on the dome piece of Whiscash for an easy knockout. Another Pokemon on Rika's team that has a 4 times weakness to a singular type is the Camel from the Hoenn region, the part Fire type Camerupt, who simply does not like taking baths. So I made Quaquaval give Camerupt one with this quad-effective Aqua Step. At this point, Quaquaval can sweep the remainder of this battle, but I decided to bring Meowscarada in anyway to deal with Rika's 3rd Pokemon, Donphan. In order to break its sturdy ability, I gave Meowscarada the new Gen 9 held item Loaded Dice to ensure that Bullet Seed hits 4 times, and all 4 hits were necessary in taking Donphan out. As the elephant from Johto went down, I brought Quaquaval back in to finish off the remainder of this first Elite 4 fight, as Quaquaval steps in to deal with Rika's 4th Pokemon, Dugtrio, who loves to set up a Sandstorm to set up its Sand Veil ability. But after that, Dugtrio gets one shot by an Aqua Step, giving Quaquaval a Moxie boost, meaning its attack stat is at +1 the moment Rika summons in her ace, Ground Terra Clodsire. And once Rika terrestrialized her ace, I knew full well that Clodsire was either going to protect or badly poison Quaquaval with Toxic on the very first turn. Either way, I was going to click on Roost, then finish off Clodsire and this Elite 4 fight with a +1 Ice Spinner, which is the best move Quaquaval can use against Rika's Clodsire due to the fact that Clodsire has the Water Absorb ability. These next 2 Elite 4 fights, believe it or not, are extremely free, starting with this battle against Poppy, a talented little girl who masters the art of using Steel-type Pokemon. But unfortunately for her, I got a Pokemon that absolutely evaporates Steel types like they're nothing. and Chai the shiny Skeledirge. As you can clearly see, Torch Song one-shots every single one of her Pokemon with the exception of her fourth Pokemon, Magnezone, as Torch Song takes Magnezone down to its 30, allowing for Magnezone to set up a light screen which halves damage done by special attacks. But after the second Torch Song wipes out Magnezone, the Dirge is already at a +5 in its special attack stat as it goes up against Poppy's ace Pokemon Steel Terra Tinkaton. He normally is a pretty nimble Pokemon for a Steel type, but I also gave Skeledirge the Choice Scarf to hold, making the Firecroc outspeed all of Poppy's Pokemon, including Tinkaton, who got turned into a pile of ashes in seconds by a +5 critical hit Torch Song. Now you are about to see just how broken Quaquaval with its hidden ability Moxie will be against normal gym leader, now flying type Elite Four member Larry in this third Elite Four matchup. Teaching Ginger the Ice Spinner move, it quickly deletes Tropheus, considering the part grass type is quad weak to ice. As Quaquaval gets a Moxie boost to put his attack stat at a +1, it gets dropped down to neutral the moment Staraptor uses its Intimidate ability, but Staraptor still gets one shot by an Ice Spinner. The rest of the battle after Quaxly gets a Moxie boost to go back up to +1 is pretty much academic. I passed along the Choice Scarf that Skeledirge held while sweeping Poppy in the second Elite Four matchup to Quaquaval to ensure the Dancing Duck is faster than all of Larry's Pokemon. And considering Quaquaval is a part fighting type, it makes the Dancing Duck extremely vulnerable to flying type attacks. That's why teaching Ginger the TM Ice Spinner, especially for this bout, is a game changer, as Larry's ace flying Terraflamigo goes down to a +3 Moxie boosted Ice Spinner for a second straight Elite Four sweep by my Paldea Shiny Starter Trio. Breezing right past the first three members of the Elite Four with force and finesse, fortitude is of the utmost importance, dealing with the final member of the Elite Four, Grandpa Hassel, a master of dragons, a type that resists all three starter types. Picking up from right where it left off against Larry, Ginger the Choice Scarf holding shiny Quaquaval quickly dusts off Noivern and Dragalge with back-to-back Ice Spinners. Regardless of Dragalge's Poison Points ability activated or not, I was going to swap out and bring in Earl Grey the shiny Meowscarada to deal with Hassel's third Pokemon Flapple from the Galar region. It does have the flying move Aerial Ace, but I never got a chance to deliver it once it got wiped out by Meowscarada's Wide Lens Protean boosted Play Rough. Hassel's fourth Pokemon is the hard-hitting Haxorus, so I decided to counter with Chai, my shiny Skeledirge. Haxorus got to move first with Crunch, but its attack power got cut in half the moment the Dirge hit Will-O-Wisp, and it also gained valuable HP back with leftovers. With Haxorus now on a timer because of the burn, I had the Dirge protect itself on the next turn. On the third turn, Haxorus connected with his second super effective Crunch, and then I finally got to use Skeledirge's best egg move, Slack Off, to heal up back to full. Haxorus then went for Crunch again, this time landing a crit, before it went down to a powered-up Hex, thanks to Haxorus suffering burn damage from Will-O-Wisp. I could probably keep the Dirge in for the final battle against Hassel's ace Pokemon, Dragon Terra Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur also doubles as an Ice type, which seems like bad strategy when I put in Earl Grey the Meowscarada for the finishing touches. I still have the Choice Scarf holding Quaquaval ready to go again if things go wrong, but I need Meowscarada's Protean boosted Play Rough to come through in the clutch after Hassel terrestrialized Baxcalibur into a pure Dragon type. The first Play Rough hit Baxcalibur hard before it retaliated with a powerful Icicle Crash, but the second round of Rough Play on the next turn finally took Baxcalibur down, capping off a flawless run through the Elite Four for the Paldean Shiny Starter Trio. Now that the battle versus top champion Geeta is finally at hand, let's take a look at the three shiny starters again. Earl Grey, my shiny Meowscarada, holding a scope lens with the moveset of Flower Trick, Night Slash, Shadow Claw, and Thunder Punch. Ginger, my shiny Quaquaval, holding the life orb with the moveset of Aqua Step, Close Combat, Brave Bird, and Ice Spinner. And finally Chai, the shiny Skeledirge, wearing an expert belt with the moveset of Torch Song, Shadow Ball, Earth Power, and Snarl. Hit the music! Earl Grey, Ginger, and Chai have been seemingly unstoppable in the Elite Four. Now it's time for them to put their collective dominance to the test, as Earl Grey leads off against top champion Geeta's first Pokemon, Espathra. Wanting to make a bold statement right out of the gates with its very first attack, Meowscarada slays Espathra with a critical hit Night Slash, a move so devastating it even impressed Geeta. But this fight has only just begun. With Geeta's own grass Pokemon Go-Go coming out second, it seemed like odd strategy of swapping out Meowscarada and bringing in the water starter Quaquaval, who is weak to grass. However, Go-Go gets absolutely bodied by Quaquaval's Life Orb boosted Brave Bird. Despite the Moxie Boost Quaquaval got, it suffered severe recoil damage, so I made another switch, bringing in Chai, the shiny Skeledirge, to square off against Geeta's next Pokemon, King Gambit. With the rain falling down, it cuts down the power of Torch Song by 50%, allowing for King Gambit to hit with a powerful Stone Edge before going down to a now +1 Torch Song. And now that the new Generation 9 evolution of Bisharp with the Supreme Overlord ability is done for, Geeta next called upon her fourth Pokemon, Avalugg, who can't even handle a neutral Torch Song, so it easily gets burned at the stake by a Torch Song at +2. But Skeledirge's job is done, as I swap back in Meowscarada to go up against Geeta's fifth Pokemon, Veluza, who's at an extreme disadvantage being a Water and Psychic type. Plus, all 4 moves I had on Meowscarada are super effective against Veluza anyway, so I decided to click Flower Trick to finally be done with this ugly fish. With 5 of Geeta's Pokemon down, the only one left for her is her ace that should have been her lead because of its ability, Rock Terra Glamora. My closer for this championship fight is Ginger, and the second Geeta terrestrializes Glamora into a Terra Rock type, you know what's coming next. Once that vicious beatdown of Geeta's pride and joy was finally through, Earl Grey, Ginger, and Chai, my shiny Paldea starter trio, capped off a flawless run throughout the Pokemon League, giving me the title of Paldea Region Champion. All that remains now is to complete all 3 major stories next, starting with heading back to Uva Academy. After conquering the Pokemon League, there is seemingly nothing that can stop my Paldea shiny starter trio now, as we elected to finish the Starfall Street story first. This battle in front of the Uva Academy entrance against Director Quaquaval was perhaps the most uneventful of these remaining 5 battles left in this run, considering all 6 of Quaquaval's Pokemon got one shot. But it does kind of help that the starters at this point are at the low 70s in level. After this Aqua Step from shiny Quaquaval took care of Houndoom, Meowscarada registered a 3rd knockout during this bout by leveling Poltergeist with a Protean boosted Shadow Claw. And as for Quaquaval's ace Pokemon, his own non-shiny Meowscarada, I simply let shiny Skeledirge come in and conclude matters, burning down Meowscarada with its patented Torch Song, capping off a very easy win. After soundly defeating Quaquaval, Penny and her team of 6 evolutions didn't fare that much better against my shiny Paldea starter trio of Earl Grey, Ginger, and Chai. It was Meowscarada that started things off, still holding the clear amulet like it did against Quaquaval, squaring off against Umbreon. Knowing that Penny loves to use baby doll eyes whenever she gets the chance to do so, it played right into my trap, as Meowscarada's Protean boosted Playrough started a cavalcade of one-shots. Penny never got a chance to land an attack with her first 5 evolutions, and the only other time she tried to use Baby Doll Eyes was against the special attacking Skeledirge, who finished off Jolteon with Earth Power, and her 5th evolution Leafeon with Torch Song, which gives Chai a special attack boost as Penny brought out the best evolution she has on her team in Sylveon. Hoping to keep the streak of one-hit knockouts alive, I terrestrialized the Dirge into a Terra Fire type to further magnify the power of Torch Song. But as you can see here, at +1, Torch Song still doesn't finish off Sylveon, but it did manage to take off over half of its health. A second Torch Song at +2, however, did the trick. The teamwork provided by my shiny Paldea starter trio is unrivaled, as the Starfall Street story is the first of the 3 main quests to be completed. The next thing to check off my list of goals is to complete the storyline of Victory Road, as I go up against Nemona for the last time in a battle of Paldea region champions in front of all of Paldea in the Mezagoza Battle Court. All 3 of my Paldea starters got a chance to shine, literally and figuratively, as Quaquaval took down Lycanroc with Aqua Step. A Protean-boosted Playrough from Meowscarada got rid of Palmot. Another Torch Song from Skeledirge wiped out Earthworm. Then Meowscarada's second Protean-boosted Playrough of this match obliterates Goodra. I brought in the Dirge for the second time in this bout to go up against Nemona's 5th Pokemon, who made things a little bit interesting in 3-segmented Dunsparce. I started off this showdown by having Skeledirge burn the Dunsparce with Will-O-Wisp to cut in half its attack power, which proved to be crucial considering the Dunsparce's super effective drill run hit critically, which gave Nemona just a little glimmer of hope and something to brag about. But the Dunsparce would go down on the next 2 turns as I had Skeledirge fiercely attack the Dunsparce with Torch Song and then scored a KO with a +1 Earth Power. And now we're all going back to how this run actually started, by bringing in shiny Quaquaval to go up against Nemona's starter that she had to choose when I picked Quaxly at the beginning of the game in Skeledirge. And as Nemona and I terrestrialized our Pokemon, Quaquaval is guaranteed to move first because it's faster in nature, but I had Quaquaval hold a Choice Scarf at the start of the bout to ensure that her Lycanroc did not set up Stealth Rocks. Choice Scarf or not, the end result was always going to be the same. Nemona's Skeledirge going down to a double stab Terra boosted Aqua Step from my shiny Quaquaval, earning me the right to call myself the ultimate champion in all of the Paldea region, as the Victory Road storyline is officially over. It's now full speed ahead towards the final boss, but before we get there, we have to beat the final boss's son, Arven, for one more battle in front of the Poco Path Lighthouse in order to complete the Path of Legends story. For the first part of this penultimate battle of the challenge, I let Ginger, my shiny Quaquaval, go on an absolute rampage. I never changed the moveset of Quaquaval the moment I set it before the battle against top champion Geeta, and Quaquaval was able to use all 4 of those moves with precision to take down Arven's first 4 Pokemon. Even though Quaquaval is now at a +4 in its attack stat thanks to 4 Moxie boost, I felt the other starters need time in the spotlight against Arven, so I swapped in Chai the shiny Skeledirge to go up against Arven's 5th Pokemon Cloyster, a water type that's normally bad news for fire types. But considering Cloyster is also an ice type, it makes Torch Song a neutral attack and an easy one-shot, considering Cloyster has a notoriously horrific special defense-based stat. Now my most well-rounded of the 3 starters, Earl Grey, my shiny Meowscarada, steps into action against Arven's ace, Dark Terra Mabosstiff, who lowers Meowscarada's attack down by a stage with Intimidate right before terrestrializing. I turned Meowscarada into a Fairy type due to Protean and let loose with a Play Rough. Mabosstiff also had grand designs of rough play on Meowscarada, and it would have been super effective if I didn't have the hidden ability Protean, but Mabosstiff ended up missing, giving me the perfect opportunity of charging up that Terra Orb for the final time terrestrializing Meowscarada into a Terra Grass type. Calling for one more special delivery from the heavens with this double-stab terrestrialized guaranteed critical hit flower trick that landed perfectly on the head of Arven's precious dog, scoring the final KO for this bout, putting an end to the Path of Legend story. Time to start putting strategic plans in place for the final fight. We're now at the final step for this entire challenge, the way home. The climax of this entire challenge is here, as I join up with Arven, Nemona, Penny, and the box legendary Miraidon as we fly down to the deepest depths of Area Zero for the epic final showdown against Professor AI Toro. The bond that I have forged with my Paldean shiny starter trio of Meowscarada, Skeledirge, and Quaquaval, the second they all hatched from a Pokemon egg, has gradually gotten stronger and stronger, and this will be the final proving ground against Toro's impeccable team of 6 future Paradox Pokemon, starting with his first Pokemon, Iron Moth, one of his fastest Pokemon, which is exactly why I elected to start this battle with Ginger, the shiny Quaquaval, and give it the choice scarf to hold to ensure it moves first before taking out the futuristic Volcarona with its patented Aqua Step. And even though Quaxly got an attack boost due to its Moxie hidden ability, Toro brings out his trickiest Pokemon in Iron Bundle next. Even though water resists ice, Iron Bundle's Freeze Dry is an ice move that is super effective against water types. So I decided to swap out in favor of Earl Grey, my shiny Meowscarada, to drop a flower trick on the head of the futuristic Delibird for a one-hit KO. As AI Toro recalculates his computer thoughts for critical damage, it's a given he's going to bring out the futuristic Hydreigon, the Dark and Flying type Iron Jugulis out third. And because it has a deadly Air Slash, I decided to once again bring in Quaquaval, a Pokemon that is also weak to flying, but it struck first because of holding that choice scarf, taking the Jugulis down to the red with Ice Spinner before getting rocked by a powerful retaliatory Air Slash that almost took off half of Quaquaval's HP. Having the choice scarf on Quaquaval was also important to prevent Iron Jugulis from getting an Air Slash flinch. Jugulis went down on the next turn to a second Ice Spinner, but that only meant one thing. Toro was either going to bring out Iron Hands or Iron Thorns out next. Regardless of whoever came out fourth, I was going to bring in Chai, the shiny Skeledirge, to cut in half the attack power of that Paradox Pokemon with Will-O-Wisp, and considering Iron Hands came out fourth, that was perfect. Will-O-Wisp did miss, but on the next turn, Skeledirge landed Earth Power to take Iron Hands down to the red before the futuristic Hariyama paralyzed Skeledirge with Thunder Punch. Fearing that something like that was going to happen, I gave the Dirge a Cherry Berry to shake off the paralysis before wiping out Iron Hands with one final playing of Torch Song. With Iron Hands going down, Toro is left with 2 Paradox Pokemon, with the first one guaranteed to show up next being the futuristic Tyranitar, the Rock and Electric type Iron Thorns, who ends up being the last victim of this run to Meowscarada's patented flower trick. And now Toro is down to his final Paradox Pokemon, the fighting and fairy type Iron Valiant, the only one on Toro's team that is holding a booster energy, which activates the Valiant's Quark Drive, boosting its attack. I kept Meowscarada in to deliver a non-Protean boosted Play Rough, taking the Valiant deep into the red and even lowering the futuristic Galadan Gardevoir's attack stat before being nailed by a Poison Jab, which thankfully didn't get Meowscarada poisoned. By virtue of that final round of rough play, my shiny kittens got claws. Iron Valiant has been defeated, and that is how I managed to conquer Pokemon Violet using only the Paldea region starter Pokemon, all shiny with their hidden abilities. This journey turned into an emotional roller coaster, taking 18 hours and 31 minutes to complete, and I thoroughly enjoyed every single second. To all of you who took the time out and wanted to view this for yourself from the beginning to the end, I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you love content like this, be sure to leave a like. And if you are a newcomer to the channel, please consider clicking the subscribe button, because every subscription tells me that I am doing something right and will further inspire me to want to make even more gaming content. Let me know in the comment section below which one you like the most out of Meowscarada, Skeledirge, or Quaquaval. Until next time, take care, God bless you all, and keep on shining.